What's really good, my people? Welcome into No Ketchup Sports Talk via Chicago. I am your host, Sean Little. My dog, Big Nick the Quick's in here.
Back here.
Jam-packed show.
Fresh off of last week.
A lot of stuff to talk about.
Yes, sir.
NFL, we're going to do best of the worst of the week.
I think we all know what the worst might be.
There should be one universal L across the board. So we're going to go through that. Best we saw this week. A lot of stuff to pick from. I'm excited to see where you go. I know where I'm going. Where do the Bears rank in the NFC? We're going to talk about that. I want to get your opinion on that. I think we're going to differ. It's going to come down to who ranks the Bears higher, who ranks them lower, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see where we're at there. NBA, tip-off is next week. It's already here. We got Carson Edwards hitting 8 threes in the preseason.
8 threes. The
in
cooker.
A quarter. It was in a quarter, right?
In the quarter.
This just happened.
The cooker.
Jalen Ramsey just got traded.
Yeah.
So I guess we could talk about
2
that,
first-rounders, yep.
What makes the Bulls relevant again? I talked about this last night on Twitter.
Shout out Big Daddy Moo.
And I'm interested, and I want to bring this to the pod. I want to talk about this, too.
I've actually softened my stance there a little bit,
What makes the squad relevant? We're going to talk about that. Mid-range jumpers was a big topic.
Yeah,
last couple days.
KD got involved.
Yeah, Zach LaVine was in there as well. He was in the front of the talk. So we're going to talk about that. Close it on the LeBron comments. China. It's jam-packed today.
A lot.
What's popping?
Man, not too much.
You waiting on a check.
Got it.
Oh, you got it.
Hey, listen, everybody out there, man, if you got the direct deposit set up, and you get the paycheck every 2 weeks, you kind of live off that, you're good to go. When you leave your job, keep in mind that last direct deposit doesn't hit on that Friday. They mail you the check. So I'm over here on Friday thinking everything's cool, and I was an idiot, you know what I'm saying? I didn't change any of my auto deductions, which come out on paydays, right? So I was like, I wasn't really thinking about it. I'll have the check on Friday. I'll be good. Wrong. Friday comes along, auto deductions hit, no check in the mail. I'm like, fuck. Saturday comes along, check doesn't arrive. I'm like, fuck. Monday comes along, it's a holiday.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, shit. So now it's been like 4 days past when I expect my check, right? And you never want to touch the savings account. It's not like I was broke, but it's like you don't want to touch the savings account. That direct deposit is what you live off of. You know what I'm saying? Take a little bit, throw it in the savings account. The rest is your walk-around money. So the whole weekend I was like tight because I'm like, hey, man, I don't really got no walk-around money. New job hasn't paid me yet. That walk-around money was low. You know what I'm saying? I was like, hey, look, man, we got to do this next weekend. So finally got paid today in full with the vacation time. Then I get paid again on Friday from the new job and another check next week.
So now you back rich.
Oh, we dumb flush for like the next 3 weeks. But it's like the calm before the storm or the storm before the calm, really.
Right. The funny thing about that is once you make it through those days, you're like happy you didn't have it because you didn't spend any of it, and now you flush.
And now you're good. You're back. I'm back good. I'm back gravy. And the cool thing was, like I said, I didn't like move my bills to this week. You know what I mean? I had everything come out on Friday as it normally would. Yeah. So it just hit the little, I was just used to getting that replenished. But it's not like I'm paying 4 bills today and, back at square one.
It's just
we
a little
good.
delay.
We super flush.
We back
Holla
good
at your
now.
boy. You know what I'm saying? And we back.
20.
Yeah, no. No.
No. 20.
Yeah,
you already know.
You and everybody else. But, I just thought that was funny, man, because, I was like yesterday, I was like, damn, this check don't come on Tuesday. Yeah. We got to push this out to Wednesday.
Yeah.
Like, nah, G, I need that direct deposit.
I'm glad you made it, bro.
I made it, man.
I'm glad you made it.
Protect your finances.
Shout out the NFL.
Oh, man.
The NBA's always got something going. So does the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean, something's always popping.
Yeah.
Last night, Monday Night Football was a little more interesting because we're Bears fans and it's Lions-Packers.
Yep.
Directly affects the Bears, the NFC rankings, and all that. We're going to get to that game. Talk to me about the best thing you saw this week in the NFL, and then we'll get to the worst thing we saw.
So best thing I saw this week, no surprise to anybody, is going to be Lamar Jackson. The evolution of Lamar Jackson, the evolution of the Baltimore Ravens. What are they, 5-1 right now? Or 4-2?
No, they have 2 losses.
So they're 4-2, right?
Yeah, they lost to the Chiefs and They lost. Yeah, they lost last week.
Yeah,
whoever that was. Yeah, they got 2 losses.
Evolution of Lamar Jackson. What was it? 200 passing yards, 150 rushing yards. First quarterback to do that since I don't even know when. But shout out Chief Keef.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, just the evolution, everything. There was a lot of talk about him before the year. What type of player is he gonna be? Is he gonna be able to throw the ball? They're gonna be able to win games like that. And I think all he's done is silence the doubters from the beginning of the year. I think he's maturing as a quarterback. For a year 2 quarterback, I think he's doing a great job. And I think Lamar Jackson is gonna be a player in this league for years to come. And you can't stop that boy when he's running. Forget about it.
Forget about it. Open field is
it's an L. It's an L.
Yeah, it's an L.
It's an L. So I mean, they're winning games playing that style of ball. I love what they're doing out there, and I'm going, Baltimore after the Bears, then the Patriots. It's the Baltimore Ravens for your boy.
On the rooting scale. I hear that.
Yeah,
that's a fun team to root for.
It's a great team to root for.
They got a lot of good dudes that I
black
like
quarterback.
They got a black quarterback.
Yeah.
I like Earl Thomas. I like Mark Ingram.
Yeah.
I just like the organization.
I like John Harbaugh.
I like John.
I think he's
Harbaugh
actually
too.
the effective Harbaugh. The other one is a lot of hype and all that. But I think John Harbaugh just went about his business quietly. I appreciate him for making that switch from Flacco to Lamar Jackson last year when he needed to. New era, and Lamar Jackson is that boy. That's it. So that's the best thing I saw. How about you?
Best thing I saw this week is the San Francisco 49ers.
Oh man!
And I'm gonna tell you that this is
the team I had to defend here last week, right?
Yeah, correct.
Because you told me well,
listen,
which I want to call you out on that. Hold on.
Go ahead.
Let me call you out on that, right? Because last week we're sitting here talking. I'm like, dude, they're 4-0. Like they're a good team. Like I don't know what else you want. No, man, this, that, and the third. And then they come out.
Facts.
Then they come out and they literally whoop the Rams up, right? And Sean, within a period of like 8 minutes, sends out 6 different tweets about how great the 49ers are. Right? Wait. After saying all that shit, I hop my Twitter, I'm scrolling, I see Sean like, 49ers are for real, man. You got to take them boys for real. Sitting over here replying to comments, all that type of stuff. When I was sitting here last week telling you the same thing. What happened?
Well, listen, I put my money where my mouth was.
Yeah.
Because I bet the Rams.
I was on the Niners all week and took off of it 5 minutes before kickoff.
Yeah, so you was a little sus too.
I got cold feet reading articles.
So
really,
dude, it is the worst, bro.
Don't read those damn articles. Go with your gut, bro. If you're gonna gamble, don't let somebody else tell you who to pick.
So I went with my gut. I thought the Rams were gonna come back, bounce back. I put my money where my mouth is, and I was paying extra attention because you know how when you got money on the game, you ever had money on the game, and you're watching the game. And you try to talk to someone else about the game that doesn't have any money on it, and you'd be like, "Yo, remember in the third quarter, second down, 3 minutes and 45 seconds on the clock."
Yeah.
And it was they were in trips, and it was Cooper Kupp had an out route, and it bounced off his foot. And
why do you remember this?
He didn't stick the ball out to get the first down. Remember that?
Yeah.
They'd be like,
No,
bruh, nah.
No, bro. I was not watching the Rams like that.
I was not watching the game like that, bro. I was on red zone, whatever.
Yeah.
I was watching the game like that. I can't even describe how impressed I was. I was shocked at what was going on. They dominated the Rams' opening drive. They ran the ball, I think, 7 times in a row. 56-yard touchdown drive, 7-0.
Yeah.
After that, they had 100 total yards the whole game.
Well, that's 70 yards passing or something.
101 total yards the whole game. I don't know Goff's
like
number, but it was insanely bad.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you how impressed I was. This is I know we always come back to the Browns somehow, but we're gonna and Freddie Kitchens.
Time to go.
When he talks, he seems disorganized.
Yeah.
Guess what? The Cleveland Browns are disorganized.
100%.
When Kyle Shanahan speaks,
flat brim
Kyle Shanahan,
bandit.
I'm like, yo.
I know what's going on here.
Wow.
It's clear. It's coherent.
This is a clear plan for how they plan on winning football games.
And that's how they're winning them.
Their defense this squad reminds me of the Bears last year.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it reminds me of.
Their defense is crazy.
The defense is crazy. The offense is getting there. They're leaning on things they were successful at.
Kittle.
They're not as gimmicky as us last year. But, yeah, Kittle's a monster. You can't even tackle, dude, first off.
He was taking 20 picks after Adam Shaheen.
That's insane.
Ryan Pace, baby!
He caught a ball and stepped out of bounds. And thank God he stepped out of bounds for the Rams because he was running through people and tackles for like another 20, but they brought it back and he stepped out of bounds.
Right.
They look sensational. Unstoppable. They have attitude, swagger, all this, bro.
Identity.
Everything. They have identity.
Yeah.
And Garoppolo, there's still question marks on him, but
he's not very good.
They're always in 3rd and 3, though.
But
you feel me?
They put him in the right position.
They're always in 3rd and 4.
That's a play. That's a coach calling the plays of the strengths of his quarterback and putting them in position to win.
Right.
100%.
100%.
My only beef with them is Richard Sherman talking.
Yeah.
I can't handle any more Richard. I think he should have not came to the podium after last week's embarrassment, but I think he doesn't give a fuck, so he's like, well, whatever. I already got a ring, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to come up here and start talking about people doubting us, talking about 85 Bears and all the other type of shit he was talking about, but yeah.
Yeah, but I couldn't tell you how impressed I was.
They look great.
They look amazing.
They look
great. And that's on short rest.
Yeah.
That was on short rest and the Rams coming off an extended rest of 10 days.
Yep.
I was impressed.
Yeah.
Bro. So that's the best thing I saw this week. Now, I know we have the worst thing we saw this week.
I got a worst thing that isn't the overall worst thing.
Okay.
If I could just hit on that real quick before we go down the rabbit hole of what everybody knows we're going to talk about. My worst thing, staying in the lines of gambling, last night had the Packers -4, right? So it's 22-20.
Yeah, they
Packer marching down the field. They're going to give them the touchdown, right, which worst-case scenario puts me in the push, right, unless the Lions come and, score a quick touchdown at the end of the game. So I'm like, oh, this is all good, right? Wrong. Packers fall down, run the clock out.
Hold on. Are you complaining about a game you should have had no business even sniffing a cover?
Yeah, no, yeah. I was feeling good. You want to know something crazy? You want to know something crazy? You want to know something crazy? I felt great about it. There was at no point in that game did I feel bad about it.
The first snap.
I knew Aaron Rodgers was coming back. I knew he was coming back.
Was this before or after all the penalties?
No, this is before.
Is that when you started feeling better about it?
Yeah, I felt great.
After all the
felt great.
Get out of here with
felt
this
great,
tape.
man. Felt great on the last drive. Felt great. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is this.
I'm glad
if they score a touchdown,
with that
worst case scenario, I get a push. Best case scenario, they kick the extra point. But my point is this. If your defense has been playing so well, right? Why don't you want to take the touchdown? What if Crosby, who is known to jag some kicks from time to time, right?
He's like 3 for 3 already.
Yeah, but he's not automatic in life. We've seen Mason Crosby jag some kicks before.
I can't believe we're even talking about this.
Why don't you take the touchdown?
Because you can end the game.
Why
give them the
ball
ball
What if he misses
back?
the field goal?
Then you miss the field goal.
And the game's over.
Then you miss the field goal.
And you can end the game.
But why give them the ball back and then give them an opportunity to go down and score a touchdown and then win the game?
Because it's Matt Stafford.
Nah, bro. What? Matt Stafford was lighting their ass up.
Did
you watch the game?
Hey, Matt LaFleur.
Cut it out.
Cover the fucking spread. Cover the spread.
Get out of here with this.
Understand. I took your crusty ass team.
Get out of here with this.
I had to root for a team that I didn't actually want to win because of the standings, and you couldn't even cover for me, man.
By the way,
cover the spread.
Did you catch LaFleur's in locker room talk after the game?
It was like not
It
really.
was really bad.
Yeah, what's he gonna say?
No, but it's just like how there's guys
that dude doesn't have presence
at all. That's exactly right.
He doesn't have a presence
guys
about
that
him.
speak.
Yeah,
like when it's like in locker room, like
Gruden.
That's exactly what I was about to say. Like him or not.
If you're in that locker room, you're hyped,
when
bro.
you're in that locker room and he came in,
I ain't had this much fun in Hungary. Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah, they had a great night. They had a great night that night.
Let me see if I can find that LaFleur.
Yeah.
Hold on.
But LaFleur,
look for it, but
he's one of those coaches that overall lacks presence. He was like, Trestman, zero presence. I'll say this, Nagy does have some presence about him. I'll give him that. He can control a room, but Matt LaFleur isn't controlling any room. He doesn't have that type of pull or anything like that. But overall, I mean, shit, they won the game. The Packers are looking good. We're going to have some major issues going forward with this particular squad because we can't seem to beat them. We already dropped our game at home to them, and now we got to play them on the road. So, I mean, what are you going to do? There you go. Yeah, there it is.
Hold on.
He just looks funny.
I'm trying to find the whole one. Hold on.
He looks like the equipment guy. He's like he doesn't look like the head coach out there at all. But hey, they're 5-1.
I should have had it queued up, but anyway.
That brings me to my next point of what I was talking about earlier is go to Aaron Rodgers post-game stuff. And me talking about, does he look relieved? Like, to you, when you watch him, and like, think about the past 8 years, everything the Packers do, all their wins and losses are all on Aaron Rodgers, right? If he plays well, he has to play well for them to win. He can't rely on the defense. He can't rely on the running game. He couldn't rely on good coaching. And it just seems like right now you're looking at him having fun. He's not even playing that great. You know what I mean? He's playing okay.
Oh, you mean relieved as in he doesn't have to do everything?
Yeah, he can go out there and be average if he is in a game. He can have he hasn't been lights out this year. Right. No, he had some dimers yesterday. Some absolute dimer. I don't know who light-skinned buddy is that he threw it to. He dropped one in the basket to him.
They dropped a couple balls.
But so I mean, he had some great plays, but overall, if you look at his numbers, this isn't like the Aaron Rodgers of old. But he seems like he's genuinely having a good time. Like, he seemed like he was one of those guys, out there in the past, he was just always pissed off.
Dude, me and my girl were watching the game last night, and she was looking at some of his passes like, wow.
Yeah, he was a dime.
That was a good throw.
Yeah, it was a great throw. But he just seems relieved. He seems like he's playing a lot more carefree.
Yeah.
He's not worried about shit. He's not dealing with Mike McCarthy. Like, you haven't noticed that?
It's probably a little bit of both of – he doesn't seem relieved to me, but
yeah.
I think that he probably is relieved a little bit because he has a great defense.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to deal with the friction with McCarthy. They have a new system, and they're winning.
They're winning ball games. Yeah.
Right. So, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I just feel like he's just playing a little bit different, and it seems a little bit different.
All right, we agree on we both agree the worst thing we saw was the officiating last night. All year.
Sunday, did you watch Cowboys-Jets?
Yeah, I did.
I was watching with my dad. 6 straight penalties at the end of the game.
Insane. I've never seen anything like that
6
before.
straight penalties at the end of the game. I've never seen anything like that before.
Last night was the icing on the cake. They've been bad all year.
All year.
Legit.
It goes back to last year in the NFC Championship game.
From last season to this season, penalties have gone up 18 or 19%.
16%.
16%?
Yep.
Okay, I thought I saw 18%.
Yeah, I think it was 16%.
But still, okay, 16%.
Which is substantial.
That's substantial.
Yeah.
What do you think it is? I don't understand.
Well, it's definitely a mandate from the league to call more stuff. I mean, that's clear.
Yeah, coming off of that pass interference.
I mean, when do you ever see two you rarely see a lot of illegal hands to the face penalties to begin with, but to see 2 on the same player in the same situation where he didn't have hands to the face, they're calling all types of crazy shit. Some of the quarterbacks, the quarterback stuff has been getting out of control, but some of those pass interference calls against the Jets the other day were ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous calls in those games. So yeah, man, I mean, I think this is the culmination of all of the things of all the competition committee and all these rules changes and all making a safer game. It's pretty much like, hey, if it's not completely straightforward, we're just going to go ahead and err on the side of caution and throw a flag. Because those illegal hands to the face, at no point did I see him put a hand to the face. And I've been critical of Booger McFarland all year, but he did take it to Buddy, whoever ESPN had, the ex-official that they had, Mike Perry, that they kept bringing up. He's like, yeah, no. What are you talking about? He's like, no, Booger, if you look at the end of the play, he's like, yeah, no, I didn't see it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I give Booger his props for definitely standing up to dude, because you could tell they were frustrated watching that game. When the announcers start getting pissed off about the game they're calling, just like Nance the other day was about to lose his mind.
Yeah, Jets-Cowboys.
They're in Jets-Cowboys. You know what I mean? It was crazy. And you're talking about end-of-game situations when you're supposed to let the players play. Even the NBA reps know in the fourth quarter you kind of let a little bit of shit fly because the game needs to go.
And typically you never see announcers say negative things about the officiating because the league is like,
yeah, we don't want that.
Nah, don't be coming down on the officials live on television.
Which leads right into ESPN and Van Pelt and them killing the officials. They don't want that. Those are the league's partners, but it is that bad. It's that bad. I mean, again, it's the culmination of where they've been headed. For a while, it was just the quarterback shit where it was like, okay, you can't breathe on the quarterback. Now it's all over. I mean, those pass interference calls against the Jets were absolutely ridiculous. It made you think, like, does somebody have money on the Cowboys? Like, is there Cowboys money out there that heavy?
Yeah.
Like, which one of these – and, like, no bullshit. Like, that's what it looked like. I've never seen anything like it. And then
like,
last night –
they had every opportunity to try to punch that touchdown.
Every opportunity.
And they did end up scoring a touchdown.
Yeah. Every opportunity. It was like, please win this game. Please win this game. We can't have y'all lose to Sam Darnold. Just can't have it. So it's crazy to me. Like, that whole thing was crazy. Last night was crazy. It makes the Saints fucking Rams shit or whoever was the Saints Rams last year look like nothing. Because that shit last night, if I'm a Lions fan, I'm like, yo, come on. Are you kidding me?
I mean,
on the same player?
Implications.
Massive. If I'm, what was dude's name?
Trey Flowers.
If I'm Trey Flowers, I'm surprised he didn't fire off that ref. Because on the second one, he really looked like he was ready. Yeah. You know what I mean, like, you might have to go get your boy.
He was actually pretty calm in the post game.
I would have smacked that ref, dog. I probably would have taken my game.
No, you're not giving up no game.
No, I'm probably not giving up a check, but I would have, sent an intermediary to smack him. I'd have my guy smack him.
Look, this is the thing. But how do you fix it? What do you do? This is what you do, in my opinion. Because it is inexcusable what's going on. You have, first off, as fast as we get the replays at home, someone else could be getting those replays, right?
Absolutely.
You put a team in the press box, so flag comes out, illegal hands to the face. The team upstairs at the game, the team of refs, whatever, just like they have a league office in New York watching the games and going through things, there's a team of officials in the stadium. They see the replay, they buzz down to the head official and say, hold on, you need to go look at that. Or, and if you even want to get, because I think the big worry is that the game flow is going to get so interrupted that it's going to be like unwatchable.
Yeah.
So you can even give the people in the booth enough power where they buzz down, as on a buzz down means pick up the flag. It's incorrect.
Yeah. Or
you need to buzz down and throw a flag for pass interference. It's almost like they're calling the game from the press box.
Well, and I think that's
you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand exactly what you're saying. I think the reason that the league wouldn't do that is you're almost like indirectly throwing your officials under the bus. Because if you're calling a game and all of your calls just keep getting overturned by upstairs, if you're an official, you're like, what the fuck? What's the purpose of me being here?
Yeah, no, I understand.
And they don't want to be like, oh well, this guy, his flags always get picked up.
But humans are humans.
Yeah,
they make mistakes. We have the technology now. Can you imagine how many calls were getting blown back in the day?
Yeah.
So now that we have the technology, let's get it right every time.
Yeah.
We have the technology and the opportunity to get it right every time. Let's get it right every time. This is how it would have went down last night. Flag, illegal hands to the face. Buzz. He comes back on the mic. Correction. You can call the booth, whatever you want to call it. There's been a mistake.
Penalty. Right.
The flag has been picked up for illegal hands to the face. The result of the play stands. Next down or whatever it is.
Or just do it in the fourth quarter. Make it a fourth quarter thing. Hey, in the fourth quarter, just like you review all scoring plays, right? Review the fourth quarter.
But this is all just doing the fourth quarter. It's just another step of not doing it the whole way.
But if you're worried about the flow of the game, right, and interrupting the game, so you're not literally looking at every single call and returning calls for the first three quarters, put it in crucial moments.
Yeah,
fourth quarter is crucial moment.
Direction.
It's a big step in the right direction. That way you can never say, hey, here in the fourth quarter, when it's the final drive of the game, I'm not getting an illegal hands to the face penalty on third down after we sacked Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I mean,
that's simple. That happened in the fourth quarter. That simple. Make it a fourth quarter thing. So, again, I see because I'm worried about interrupting the flow of the game, too, because you will literally be second-guessing. So, holding penalties, forget about it. You'll look at every single hold.
Or maybe have it where you keep the players in the huddle after a penalty for an extra amount of time. You can't do any subs. And I'm just thinking about this on the fly.
Right.
You can't do any subs. You hold them in their huddle, the offensive team in the huddle, until it's like confirmed on the play, right or wrong, and then you break out and go. Defense can't sub or do anything else. That's what I just came up with on off the top of my head. But there has to be some type of team that can look over the refs that are on the field. No one's looking at them on the field.
It's almost like they have a penalty quota. You know what I mean? Like, hey, y'all have to throw X amount of flags per game because studies show that this is how many penalties actually happen throughout the game. Because, again, that second illegal hands in the face, it was like, come on, dog. Like, someone already told you that the first was a bad call.
Dude, there's been a lot of plays this year where it's been like, yo, this is just wrong.
Yeah.
You're wrong here.
Yep.
Like, and we have an opportunity with the technology and everything else to just correct it. Just get it right.
But it makes the games unwatchable. Like last night was ridiculous. That was ridiculous.
How do you feel about the team in the stadium buzzing down or doing something like that?
I'd have to see the full draft of it and what that's actually going to look like. I agree with it in the fourth quarter, but again, I really think it has to start with how you're training these refs, because just like you've trained them to start calling all this bullshit, you have to untrain them to call all that bullshit. You have to look at it right now, understand that you probably can't do that.
Are they full-time yet?
Yeah, I think they're full-time crews. Yeah,
they're full-time refs now.
Yeah.
Remember that was one of the
reasons that they walked out too, right? Yeah. No. So you need to train that staff to not call. I mean, and it's kind of like you want them to call stuff when it does happen. You don't want it to be a free-for-all out there. But at the same time, you can't have it where these refs are so nervous that they're blowing the whistle and throwing a flag on every single play. You cannot have that happen, and that's what's going on right now. In these crucial moments, right? In crucial moments of the game, you really have to look at it and be like, is this a penalty? So maybe it's one of those situations where they confer about it right there on the field, something like that. But again, someone has to have the ability to pull that flag up. So however you want to get that done in the fourth quarter, you probably need to figure that out. But at the end of the day, it starts with how you're training these people, and you need to train them in a way so that they understand you can't be calling bullshit like that. You just cannot do it because, again, they're training them to call it like that right now. That is coming straight from the league office. It's not a coincidence that we're seeing all these flags. It's not a coincidence that penalties are up 16%. If it was something that the league didn't want, they'd be all over it because that's a huge variance. Nothing goes up 16%. That's a lot. It's a fifth. It's crazy. Yeah. So, again, it's coming from the league. The league wants this. But now, hopefully, with all the backlash that they're getting this week and they're getting destroyed on every single show that matters by every single person all over the place, you got players tweeting about it. Like, hopefully they figure it out.
Listen, the biggest problem is everyone can see they made a mistake and no one's doing anything about it.
Yeah.
Like, that was a mistake. That was wrong.
And it was a primetime game,
But
too.
we're continuing to just go about it like they're not fucking up.
And it was two primetime games. It was the late afternoon game, which you talked about last week, is that third primetime slot.
Yeah, that's the third
and it was the Monday night game. Can't have it. You cannot have it. So they need to retrain the refs and what they should be looking for and what they need to call and tell them, hey, man, you got to pull these flags back a little bit. That's that. Now, next what will happen is we'll be complaining about them not throwing a flag on something. But I would almost rather have the we didn't throw the flag on this situation than the we did throw the flag on this situation.
I think it comes down to this. It's almost, you know what? You know what it could be? What if you had a set of refs or something that like challenged calls like from the other refs? Like I want you to take another look at that type of thing. The game flow thing is really messed up. That can become
contentious on the field.
But the thing about the challenge thing from the coaches is it's like they only have two. Yeah. Now they're scared to challenge shit because they don't want to lose timeouts. Like in the second half, people aren't challenging shit unless that shit's a lock.
You shouldn't lose your challenge flag if you win the challenge.
I agree with that. Like, you shouldn't need to hit back-to-back to get a third.
Yeah.
Like, you should be able to challenge all day if you're hitting them.
Yeah.
Like, you're wrong.
Boom, boom, boom.
You're wrong, bro. Yeah. Challenge, you're wrong.
Yeah, you should not lose. You shouldn't lose because, like you said, these coaches shouldn't be nervous to throw them out because you shouldn't be preserving them like timeouts.
Yeah, because that's what it comes down to. Yeah. Because in the fourth quarter, like, if I miss this challenge, I'm going to lose the challenge and a timeout.
I can't do it.
Maybe I'll just hold this. Like, forget it. You know what I'm saying? So something's got to happen.
Something.
Because the technology is there. Let's talk about the NFC because the NFC is loaded, top to bottom. And I thought it'd be interesting to see where you thought the Bears were ranked in the NFC. Let me give you the rankings.
Yeah, give me the rankings. Well, give me the team, and I'll tell you if that team's better than the Bears.
Hold on. I'm just going to give you the squad. San Francisco's 5-0. Green Bay's 5-1. New Orleans is 5-1. Seattle's 5-1. Minnesota's 4-2. Carolina's now 4-2. Have won 4 straight. Bears are 3-2. Philly's 3-3. Dallas is 3-3. The Rams are 3-3. The Lions are 2-2. And then we started getting to the goofy squads. We got the Cardinals, who are Kyler Murray's been doing all right.
Dangerous.
Then we got the Giants, who they just got a new quarterback. They're working their way in. Tampa Bay, Atlanta, Washington.
Proper. Pretty much the records to me make sense, other than I would flip the Bears and the Vikings. I understand the Vikings have a better record, but we have their number. We are better than the Minnesota Vikings. They played great this weekend, but we are better than the Minnesota Vikings. Every other team that you named in front of us is absolutely positively better than right now, they are better than the Bears with Kyle Allen. Kyle Allen's got, what, 8 touchdowns, 0 picks?
Yeah, something like that.
Riverboat Ron. He's coaching them to their strengths.
He's analytics Ron now. Did you hear that?
Was that what he calls himself now? Yeah, right.
Did you hear this?
No.
Okay, so they played in London. I woke up early. They played in London last week against the Panthers, or against the Bucks.
Yeah.
And they were calling him Riverboat Ron, and he was like, well, it's actually analytics Ron because like that's what you're supposed to do on 4th down and whatever, right? So I thought that was really funny. Yeah, he said I'm analytics.
His whole career flipped when he started going for it on 4th.
Yeah, it did.
It really did, yeah. The whole career flip. I'm like, hear that? Yeah, it's real shit. But no, I think that they are better than the Bears right now. Yo.
So what you have them at 6 then? You have San Francisco in front of them, Green Bay, New Orleans, Seattle, and Carolina. So you have the Bears at 6.
For sure, yeah. Give me 3 teams behind them, not including the Vikings.
So then behind them, not including the Vikings?
Yeah.
Philly, Dallas, the Rams, and Detroit.
Yeah, we're better than those teams.
Yeah?
Yeah. Those teams are on epic slides right now.
Yeah.
I mean, the Rams are on lost 3 straight.
Dallas lost 3 straight.
Philly's lost.
Just got blown out.
Just got blown out. So those teams are on a slide. So I can't sit here and say that the Bears are worse than teams that are losing 3 straight games, but we're absolutely not better than any team with a better record than us other than the Minnesota Vikings.
I have us at 5.
We have the worst offense in the NFL. We have the second worst offense in the NFL now that Sam Darnold's back. So the Jets' offense will start to go leaps and bounds above the Bears' offense because Darnold's a professional quarterback.
Now you're talking against your own argument.
No, but I'm just saying that's why these other teams. No, I'm not, because what I'm saying is I can't say that the Bears are worse than the Dallas Cowboys, even though on paper they are. But the Dallas Cowboys have lost 3 straight games. That matters. Right? So if you're looking on paper, the Cowboys are a better team. The Eagles are a better team, probably.
But forget about paper. Like, we've seen them play,
yeah.
Right?
If you've lost 3 straight games, you can't be better. I'm sorry, you've lost 3 straight games. So I am kind of talking out both sides of my mouth right now. But the reason that they're not better than, say, like the Panthers is, again, the Panthers have a better record, and we have the second worst offense in the league.
I have us as the 5th best team in the NFC.
So you think we're better than Carolina?
Yes. I have us behind San Francisco, Green Bay, New Orleans, Seattle. And then we're 5th. But that's 100%. I'm giving them a lot of benefit of the doubt.
Panthers have won 4 straight ball games.
I'm giving them a lot of benefit of the doubt, and it's extremely tight. We could easily be 9th.
Yeah.
Like, easily. We're 5th by a sliver, bro. And that's me holding out hope that we're going to come off the bye and take care of business against New Orleans.
Would you rather have Kyle Allen or Mitchell Trubisky?
Kyle Allen.
That's sad.
It's just what it is.
Yeah, that's where we're at.
I mean, like, if I'm looking at Kyle Allen play,
yeah, I'm taking Kyle Allen right now.
That's it.
Yeah.
Like, we're talking about right now. Like, Kyle Allen. Allen. I don't know. Like,
bro, I think he has
like
one
you
pick,
just said,
yeah.
we have the worst O in the league.
Yeah, outside of Miami, who's actively trying to lose ball games.
And, I mean, like we said, we've beat it up a ton. The O-line's in trouble. We're shaking some things up. Kyle Long's on the IR.
Great.
We'll talk about that.
Thank you for everything.
But yeah, it's 5, but we could easily be 9.
Yeah.
Like, if the Bears played Philly which we do play coming up.
We're
going to play these guys.
We could lose some of these games.
But on a neutral field, if we played the Cowboys, Philly.
Well, remember Dallas is coming. Dallas is coming to Soldier Field in December. They don't want any part of that. So I'm not worried about that.
I get it, but I mean, I'm going to say 5, but it could be easily slimmer than that.
Yeah.
So, stay tuned.
I can't say that we're better than a team that's won 4 straight ball games and has some semblance of an offense.
Christian McCaffrey is real.
And has the MVP.
Potentially. Real deal.
He's a real deal. Christian McCaffrey is the best white running back since
ever. Of all time,
boy.
Shit, Mike Allstott.
Shout out Mike Allstott, Joliet Catholic.
Is he the best white running back of all time? This is live, folks. Is Christian McCaffrey the best white running back of all time?
Who was that white dude from Boise State that started one game for the Bears and rushed for 144 yards? I remember the number exactly. 144 yards, 2 touchdowns. Brock Forsey?
Brock Forsey.
Was that his name, Brock Forsey?
Yeah.
And Brock Forsey is the best white running back of all time. 144 yards and 2 touchdowns. If I'm right on that number that it was $144, somebody on the chat look that up.
Hold on.
I promise you it was $144 and 2 touchdowns.
Yo, we thought we
I'll never forget it, bro. It's like the Mortal Kombat blood code. I'll never forget that shit.
Let's see what comes up.
$144 and 2 tutties?
Yeah. Wait.
Was it a buck? Oh, man.
He was number 44. Yeah, I think it. Hold on.
Was it $144 and 2 tutties, right? I'm trying to tell you. The Brock Forsey game. Never did nothing in the league after that.
Against Arizona, Forsey carried the ball 27 times for 134 yards.
Oh, 134.
And a touchdown.
Oh, and 1 touchdown.
Caught 2 passes for 27 yards. Bears went on to win 28-3.
The Brock Forsey game. Brock Forsey's a legend in this town. Never has to pay for a meal in Chicago ever again in his life, bro.
I completely forgot about
the Brock Forsey game. Yeah, Brock Forsey is the best white running back of all time. No, I think Christian McCaffrey might be the best white running back of all time. Yeah, without a doubt.
I'm trying to think of who he's even in. What, Zonka?
Neil Anderson, is that the dude who's played for the Bears?
No, he was black. From Northwestern?
Was he black?
Neil Anderson's light-skinned, dog.
My fault, bro.
Come on, bro.
TVs was old back in the day, huh? Danny Woodhead?
Come on, bro. Larry Zonka, right?
Is that the Dolphins?
Isn't he a Hall of Famer?
He
was on the Dolphins or the Redskins. Might have been the Redskins. Christian McCaffrey is the best white running back of all time.
No, you know who it is? It's what's that dude's name?
That's what we're gonna go with.
What's that dude's name that used to play for a new team every week way back in the day? One of those old school players. Newt Rockney or some shit like that. Newt Rockney might have something to say about this. Yeah, shout out Christian McCaffrey though, man. The way that we feel about black quarterbacks, y'all should feel about Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, absolutely.
The white running
white
back,
people
bro.
should be
white people should be like, that's the white running back club.
Every white person that's a football fan and an offensive fan should have a Christian
McCaffrey joint.
Like, that's without a doubt.
We should get Eli's son a baby McCaffrey
joint. Someone was talking to me about the best it was like we talked about something about the best quarterbacks in the league being black. And then the best running back in the league is white. Like, when has that ever happened in the history of the world?
It's like when Chris Rock had that joke. He's like, the world is fucked up when the best rapper is white. He was talking about Eminem. The best golfer is black.
It's the same thing.
And 2 sisters from Compton dominate tennis.
Right. That's exactly right, bro.
Yeah, your world going crazy.
That's exactly right. Best quarterback in the league, Mahomes, Russell,
Deshaun
Watson.
Yeah.
And the best running back in the league.
Well, I mean, hold on. Tom Brady.
Yeah, he's up there. He's not. I don't think he's better than any of those 3 right now.
If I have one game, I'm still taking Tom.
Yeah, probably.
It's just not even a question at this point in time. I just need a win.
Cut it out.
Figure it. Two rushing touchdowns this week. That was crazy on Thursday. 2 rushing touchdowns.
QB sneak Brady. You know what it is. You already know.
Dude, apparently his conversion percentage on QB sneaks is like 95% on the first down. Yeah.
Well, the QB sneak in general is way more successful than like it should. If it's a short yardage.
He's also like 6'6".
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. All right. Let's switch to the NBA. Tip-off is next Tuesday, I believe. Mm-hmm. Next week, 7 days away. Who opens the season? Do you know off the top of your head?
I'm not sure. Probably the Lakers and somebody. I think it's the Lakers and Clips, isn't it? Or Lakers and Rockets. It's always big-time Western Conference teams.
But give me, what are you most excited about, least excited about, and then we'll get into this mid-range. When are the Bulls going to be relevant? What makes them relevant? And we'll go from there.
Obviously, with all the changes that happened, the whole offseason was crazy. That 2-week period of player movement was unlike anything we've ever seen before. So what I'm most excited about is probably I'm actually excited to watch Houston with this Russ and James Harden. Like non-Bull stories, Russ and James Harden type situation. Right behind that, I'm excited to see Kawhi with the Clippers. I'm excited to see the Clippers dominate. I feel like that when you look at that roster defensively, the Clippers are going to be a major issue for teams. You got Pat Bev, Paul George, and Kawhi Leonard sharing the floor. Like, those are 3 dog defenders, right? Like, Pat Beverly is the definition of a dog, right? Like, all heart, just will bring it to you every single game. You know what you're getting from Pat Bev. You add 2 supremely skilled defenders in Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. Like, yo, the points don't matter. How much that team scores doesn't matter. You have never had that two perimeter defenders that good on the same team. Like, if you were to look at it like last year when he was healthy, top perimeter defenders in the NBA, Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. 1A, 1B. Pick who you want. Name me a better perimeter defenders than maybe Giannis, but Giannis man-to-man, it's a little bit different. Like, those guys are man-to-man, lockdown defenders.
Bro, we know what time it is in the NBA in the playoffs. It's guards, and you need perimeter D.
Simple.
Yeah. But, yeah,
and Paul George is the ultimate second banana. His whole he is if you could pick, like, yo, I want the best, like, number 2 player I could get.
Who's the new age Scottie Pippen? Is Paul George.
Paul George. If he stays healthy, it's like, yeah, he doesn't need to take all the shots. He's cool being that, but he's going to play D. He can play make a little bit. He's unselfish. And you just put him with that boy Kawhi, and you got Harrell. You got fucking you
got Lou that can get you a bucket.
Lou is we need to have our bucket getter show. But again, I've already told you what the 6th Man of the Year award is called. It's the Jamal Crawford, Lou Williams honorary award of the year, whatever. Like, give it to Lou.
The Benchman
Award.
The
Benchman Award, 6th man, like Lou will. You know what I mean? Like, is a walking bucket. So if the offense does get stale, you can throw him into any situation.
We should
he gets buckets wherever. We need to get a bucket
getter show.
Bucket getter
segment.
Yeah. And there has to be some rules. Like, if you're a bucket getter, you can't be like, oh, well, KD. Like, yeah, we get it.
Yeah, he's a bucket getter.
Yeah, but he's just a bucket getter. Yeah. But, like, it's like the ultimate bucket getters of, like, this guy's not an all-star.
The middle tier bucket
The middle tier bucket getters.
That you can call on for a bucket, but not to win you a game.
You know who it might be? Carson Edwards.
Bucket getter.
Buckets. What does he do? I get buckets.
I'll get a bucket.
Can he play D? No, buckets.
I can get you a bucket, though.
You need a bucket?
Can I get you a bucket?
Here, let me give you this. A bucket. So, like, those dudes, Eddie House, Sun Devil, legend, bucket getter.
Here's a bucket.
Nate Robb used to get buckets in abundance.
Does CJ McCollum fall on that list?
See, like, so that's funny. I was having this argument with myself the other day. Like, I was thinking about, like, we need this bucket getter shit. McCollum's never been an all-star. But he is in that upper echelon of players.
He might be, like, the top of that.
Yeah,
list.
I feel like he's
a bucket.
Yeah, he is a bucket, but like not like Lou Will is a bucket, bro. You know what I mean? Like, he's a bucket. Like, Ben Gordon in like the 2 years he was really good was a bucket. You know what I mean? Like, it's got to be those guys who, like, I think like the ultimate version of it would be like Melo. Like, if you look at Melo, like what kind of player was Carmelo Anthony? I don't know. He just was able to put the ball in the basket.
Yeah, he gets you a bucket.
Put the ball in the basket. I'm not really sure. He wasn't a shooter, not necessarily. He's not a post-up guy, not necessarily. He would just put ball in basket at an extremely high level. But then you have those guys that fall under that. You're Rudy Gay. Rudy Gay gets some buckets from here and there. Like, those dudes are just able,
and you know
able
what's
to get
funny
buckets,
about
bro.
the saying bucket getter? It tends to lean towards jump shots.
Yeah.
Like, when you think of bucket getters, you think of like a dude pulling up for a jumper, like,
right.
as a bucket.
He
like, going to the rim, he's not really a bucket getter.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Even though it's the same thing, but yeah.
It's a dude, but also that dude that can score in a wide array of ways.
Yeah.
Isn't necessarily great at anything, but is awesome at putting ball in basket.
Yes.
Like, we just need points, man.
By
Fuck
any
the
means
offense.
necessary, right.
Forget what I'm drawing up over here. And that's what Lou Williams does. He's like, oh, second quarter, okay.
Ben Gordon, ultimate bucket getter.
Bucket getter. Buckets.
I can get you a bucket.
Give
I don't know how I'm going to get it to you. I don't know how
I can't dribble. I can't pass. Just give me the rock. I'm going to find a way.
Just give me the rock. I'll get you a bucket.
If there's a will, there is a way. I will find the bucket.
I'll get you a bucket.
Yo,
bro.
we are going to do that. That's the commitment to the people out there. We are going to put together the ultimate bucket getters list of current NBA players. When it's like, hey, all else fails, I need someone just put the ball in the basket.
Just let me get a bucket.
I just need. And again, you can't say KD. There's too much skill involved in that.
Exactly.
I heard I forget what NBA player it was that they were talking about this, and he's like, yo, y'all don't understand. Like, being able to get buckets at will is a true NBA skill.
Yeah, no doubt.
You know what I mean? Like, not relying on sets or pick and rolls or any of that stuff. Just like, hey, any playground on earth, catch a bucket.
I guess James is the ultimate bucket getter.
Yeah, but he's almost on
because
he's the cheat code.
Because he's going solo at people.
He's the cheat code.
Yeah. But
then again, he's an MVP, so it's like we get it.
Yeah, I hope y'all are following along out there.
Yeah, it's got to be one of these guys that's just liable to go. Like, if you were to hear that this player had 30, it wouldn't surprise you. Like, even when we talking about Carson Edwards today with the 8 threes, it's like, oh, yeah, he's wet.
But he doesn't get exactly right. That's the definition of a bucket getter. He doesn't get 30 all the time, but if you heard he got 30, you wouldn't be surprised.
It was like when Jamal Crawford used to have those random 50-point games. I think Jamal Crawford has had 50 on 4 different teams. Like, he's played for 8 teams, and on 4 of them he put up 50.
Yeah.
Like, he put up 50 like 3 years ago. He was like 40 years old. So, like, but at no point are you surprised. If Jamal Crawford got 50, is he still playing? If he is still playing, if he comes back to the league this year and he gets 50, I would not be surprised. Like, yeah, of course. What do you mean?
Yeah, he's a bucket.
Yeah, he was just on. He was just on that day.
Yo, opening night is Tuesday, and you were right. They start with Pelicans Raptors because Raptors got to get their rings, and then it's Lakers Clippers at night. TNT. I can't wait to see Shaq.
That's gonna be great.
Barkley, the Jet.
That's gonna be great.
And the boys. So
yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to, man. Just some of that player movement and seeing these teams at the top. I really, truthfully, I'm also looking forward to a season where it's not like a foregone conclusion that the Warriors are gonna win.
Well, yeah, for sure. Yeah,
that's the biggest thing
that's
right
the
there.
Biggest
you
thing.
don't know who's gonna win the NBA championship. That picture is hard.
For me?
That picture is hard.
New Sports Illustrated cover, NBA season preview. That picture is hard, right?
That picture is super tough.
Got James and Russell, the reboot. Russell, James coming back together in Houston. I agree with you, bro, and I'm on the same page. That's the most exciting. If I'm going to look at something and be excited about it and want something to succeed, it's the Rockets.
It's the Rockets, yeah.
I'm excited to see what happens with that. You can pull it back up.
I think before I hated Chris Paul so much. I didn't hate it. I dislike him. So it's just like whatever. But like, yeah, I love Russ. I obviously love James, the Sun Devil, Jerry. So, you know.
The biggest thing is that I haven't heard too much talk about it not working, but Russell wants to be there. It's not one of those forced things where he feels like I'm going to be outshined. I'm not going to get my shot. Yeah. It's like, yo, let's try to make this work. I'm happy to be here.
Why not?
Why not? Let's try to get this done, right?
But I ever tell you when I used to see Harden on campus? Used to drive around on campus with like one of those Debo-style beach cruisers and a backpack with no books.
Backpack just empty,
James.
flat.
And was a bucket in college all day. Teams never did shit with him on it, but you knew he was a gamer.
And the
Same
Rockets,
type game too.
The Rockets are just fun to watch too. They exclusively shoot threes and go to the basket.
Yeah.
Mid-range does not exist. It's just the new age. It's cool to watch the new age, the evolution of something, and they're at the forefront of that.
Yeah.
So they're going to be fun to watch. Russell's going to be fun to watch.
They might be looking for a new GM, but they'll be a lot of fun.
1B for me, I want to see Zion, Morant, the rookies. Morant has the opportunity to do some crazy things in Memphis because he's gonna run
the light will be so green.
Oh my God. You know what I mean?
Marshall Henderson green light.
Literally, shout out Marshall.
Marshall Henderson green light.
What is Marshall Henderson
I'll never forget
doing?
that during that tournament run, LeBron James tweeted out, Marshall Henderson has the greenest light I've ever seen in my life. Green.
What is Marshall Henderson doing right now?
Getting buckets.
You think he's in Europe somewhere?
Yeah, he's somewhere shooting 35% from the field, getting buckets, not giving a fuck.
Oh man,
the guy was a bucket.
Wow, go if you don't know who we're talking about, you're not a true hoops fan
Mississippi
anyway.
State. What team was he?
Mississippi, Ole Miss.
Ole Miss. Yeah.
You need to go look up Marshall
like 3
Henderson.
or 4 years ago, Marshall
Wild
Henderson,
boy.
wild boy.
You know how we say wild boy?
Green. Pull up with no conscience.
Wild boy.
Wild boy.
Marshall Henderson.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because Morant's going to be able to do anything he wants in Memphis. So that's going to be interesting.
And they got a nice little young core. Him, Jaren Jackson Jr.
Yeah.
Nice little young players.
Same thing
right
with
there.
Morant and those boys down there in New Orleans.
So that was my what I'm least looking forward to.
Really interesting.
Not because I'm not intrigued by that team, because I like Lonzo, I like Brandon Ingram, I like Zion, obviously, but I don't want just the fact that when I watch SportsCenter, it's 20 minutes of Zion preseason highlights, which I already knew going into it. There's so many other stories in the league that is not the one that grabs me, but I feel like it's going to be force-fed down my throat.
Ah, interesting. Okay.
And again, I'm cool with it. I understand Zion's excited and all that, but I'm really, when I look at New Orleans, I'm more like, can Lonzo, fix his career? Because, I was huge on Lonzo coming out, and I still am. I think that was just a bad situation. Talk about a bad situation to get drafted into.
You say he's going to be on that D'Angelo Russell tip?
D'Angelo Russell went from bum to max player.
Get out a new spot.
Get out a new spot.
Get in a new
Get away from your dad who's wild. Go as far on the opposite side of the country that you can go.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Go and not be in the bright lights of L.A. I think it's hard to play at the crib. I really think it's hard to play at the crib, man. I think you want to go somewhere and be uncomfortable and establish yourself and force yourself to I'm in the gym, I'm uncomfortable. You know what I mean? All I'm thinking about is basketball. You get drafted to the crib with all that noise around you. You can tell his dad was driving him crazy with the whole shit. I mean, the circus around him.
Reality show.
The reality show, all that type of stuff, man. He can't escape this dude's shadow. This dude's throwing the coach under the bus. It just creates a bad situation. Not to mention that whole Lakers situation, as we know and as we saw, was not a good situation. You got your GM quitting in the press conferences, not telling people, I'm not going to be there. Shout out Magic. But
Magic,
that whole situation was crazy. So I think, and all that expectation, he's going to go to New Orleans. There's no expectations on him.
And combined, there's no expectations.
Everybody's looking at Zion.
Everyone's written off Lonzo already.
Yeah.
And he's coming in with the new little jumper. So, yeah, that's a good point.
If he could shoot, that's all that was really missing. Lonzo, if you look at his number, he can rebound. He's obviously a great passer.
Yeah.
He's a solid defender.
He's such a good fit for Zion.
Yeah, he is. Bob.
If Zion could pick a point, that's a really good one.
Yeah.
Because he's not looking to score.
At all.
He's trying to facilitate.
He's trying to get rid of the ball as fast as possible. If you look at him, he's not like Rondo where he's dribbling all over the place. His thing is push the pace, get the ball out of my hands.
Yeah,
yep,
sure.
Into yours.
Exactly right.
So I think that they got a nice situation. I like Alvin Gentry.
Yeah, Alvin.
Over there.
Out,
I think Alvin Gentry's a solid coach, and that's the perfect type of head coach you
he
want
was
in that
so sick during that Anthony Davis shit.
He was. He's like, this is fucking ridiculous. If you're the coach and you're just like, yo, I can't sit here and throw my best player under the bus, and I can't throw my bosses under the bus, and I'm just got to sit here and field all these questions all day about why Anthony Davis is playing 20 minutes a night. I don't want to sit around and talk about this.
So is that your least thing you were looking forward to? Zion and...
Yeah, the overwhelming Zion coverage is the thing I'm looking least forward to about the NBA because, again, the other stories are so...
Are not going to get enough attention.
When I'm watching these preseason highlights, I'm just like, yo, I care about all the other shit.
Yeah.
I want to see what this team's going to do. I want to see what that team's going to do, and I don't want to have it's like the Tebow watch almost. Well, I'm not comparing Zion to Tebow, but they had to talk about Tebow for 15 minutes per SportsCenter. It's I feel like you're going to have to show a whole bunch of Zion highlights, listen to people break it down. I'm also not looking forward to the analysis of every single one of his games. Just let the kid grow. Let him figure out who he is. I understand he's a great talent, but we still don't really know what he is as an NBA player because we've never really seen anything like it. So I'm not looking forward to turn on the jump and it's going to be 20 minutes of Zion was 1 for 12 last night. Well, guess what? It might happen. Yeah. You know what I mean? I don't want to sit around and talk about that. So it's nothing against Zion. It's just more against I know what the coverage is going to look like. We've been down this path before. How about you?
I'm least excited about the Utah Jazz.
I didn't tell you this.
This team bores me so much. I don't even know how to explain it. The over-under is 54 wins for them.
What they win last
year?
So
they'll be good.
What they win last year, 52, 53?
I'm not sure.
They brought in my man Mike Conley.
It was 50-plus.
Mike Conley will get you a couple wins.
Yeah. This team is a snooze fest for me. And they're going to be good, so people are going to be talking about them. And I don't want to hear about them at all. Because I don't think they have a shot to win the title. You know what I mean? They're going to be a good team, and you know how I get. If I like some of the players on the team, I'll rock with the squad.
You don't like
I don't like any of the players.
You don't like Donovan Mitchell?
I don't like I just don't. I don't want them to get any attention. It's a snooze fest for me. Donovan Mitchell's overrated. This is fact.
Shoots like 40% from the field.
Mike Conley, great PG.
Be careful.
Snooze fest.
Hey,
it's a snooze fest.
No Mike Conley slander will be tolerated.
Mike Conley, I like him. Good point guard.
Great. Great defender. Leader. Gobert
is a fucking baby. I don't like him.
You don't like the crying about the All-Star thing?
Like Gobert, that was one of the it was soft when my guy from Portland did it.
Which one?
Before he started getting the nod every year.
Damian
tweaking. Yeah, Dame.
Remember
when Dame wasn't getting the nod and he was like, man, it'd be nice to – he was begging for an All-Star slot.
Yeah.
I didn't like when he did it, and I definitely don't like when Gobert does it just because I don't like Gobert. He's a baby.
Parlez-vous?
They have my second favorite Bogdanovich that they just signed. So, I mean, if you're the second favorite Bogdanovich, then, like, you know what I mean? How hard is that to do?
I think the other one got $51 million today, right?
My boy Bogdanovich on Sacramento.
Yeah, he got 51 mil.
Bro, that's my dog.
They gave him 50 bucket. They
gave him 50
bucket. They gave him Euro bucket.
Bogdanovich.
Yeah,
if you're the second favorite Bogdanovich, you have a problem.
So 2 things on that real quick.
So
I'm excited to watch
Utah
them.
Jazz.
I'm excited to watch the
Utah?
Kings. No, the
The
Kings.
Kings, yeah, 100%.
Darren Fox, that's a nice looking squad. No, on the
Darren
Utah
Fox,
Jazz.
Buddy Hield,
So I was in Utah
Bogdan,
2 weeks ago.
I'll watch them all day.
I was in Utah 2 weeks ago.
Snooze
they
fest.
love Donovan Mitchell. I'm talking about dudes had the Spider Mitchell shoes left and right. They love Donovan. You cannot talk false about Donovan Mitchell. It's like going to the Bay and talking bad about E40. It's not going to end well for you.
You're not going to get nobody on your side.
You might get stomped out.
Spider Mitchell's overrated.
He's an inefficient scorer.
How about this? Overrated because of where the media and people have been placing him. People think he's like a savior, and he's this, and he's that, and he's clutch, and he can do this and do that.
The next Dwayne Wade.
He's just not there yet, right?
Yeah.
So, that's what I mean when I say that. He's a good ball player. I think he's going to continue to get better. But currently, right now, he's overrated. So, Utah Jazz snooze fest. Bro.
My only thing with him is...
That's the least thing I'm looking forward to of people talking about they have a real chance to win the West and this, that, and the third, and... Listen,
I forget his shooting splits, but I feel like he gets away with being a very, 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 very
inefficient player.
Very inefficient shooter.
Yes.
Like, it is in the 40% range and not on the good side of 40%. Like, here, let me see if I can pull this up real quick. But his shooting is absolutely atrocious as far as the percentage.
But yeah, like you said, you're not
shot 43% last year.
Yeah, you're not gonna. What do you shoot from 3?
36, so not bad.
Yeah, that's not
on
bad.
7 attempts a game, but he shot 43 from the field, shot 20 attempts a game.
Yeah, I mean,
light is green, baby.
He owns the squad out there, right?
Yeah.
I get it. And Conley will help him.
Conley was a huge signing for them.
Yeah.
If you want to know what type of player that they really needed, it was a steady point guard who's going to bring in that leadership and can take some pressure off of Donovan Mitchell. So I understand why you don't want to watch them as far as them being boring. I definitely get that, but they're going to be good. Snyder's
Rubio
a good
was there
coach.
Last year. Conley's an improved Rubio. For sure.
It's a completely different player, yeah.
Yeah, no, but I mean, they both can play D on the perimeter. They both facilitate.
You took a step up.
Right, exactly.
And Mike Conley's going to be motivated, too.
Yeah, no doubt.
I think he's always motivated, but
he
plays
he's
hard.
on a team that's going to be good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, for sure. There's reason to be motivated.
Remember Mike Conley at Ohio State with Greg Oden?
Yeah, they were doing yeah, dude. Of course I do. National title game.
Yep.
Of course.
Yep.
So that's the least thing I'm excited about. I don't want to hear. If I didn't hear about the Utah Jazz all year and they ended up winning 55 games and then lost in the second round, which is exactly what's going to happen, I'd be good.
I don't think you're going to hear a crazy amount about them, though. You'll hear about them, and you'll have – you know who loves the Utah Jazz? The basketball nerds.
Yeah, of course.
The basketball nerds love the Jazz. They love Gobert. They love Quinn Snyder. And Snyder's a good coach.
Quinn Snyder's up on the analytic game.
Yeah. So those guys love him. They're like, oh, the Jazz, or they're DPOR. It's like amazing. Like,
all right.
Which brings us to our next topic.
Yeah, I thought this was very interesting. I had a conversation last night, and I'm going to ask you the question that I talked about last night. And then we'll get into LaVine and this mid-range jumper talk that KD had with Matt Moore of the Action Network.
Oh, is that who it was?
Yeah.
I thought it was Hoops Paradox. Oh, that's
Matt Moore. That's his
handle.
that's
just his name. Okay,
yeah.
I got you.
For you, what makes the Bulls a relevant team? Because I had the conversation last night, and hold on, let me pull it up.
Well, relevant to who is what I want to know, but yeah. I saw that.
Because
I had a little popcorn gift come out. I was ready to go.
Because I had a conversation. I don't even know where it's at on my list.
Click on tweets and replies.
Tweets and replies. Yeah, because I had a conversation, and essentially it was about what makes the Bulls relevant. Okay, here it is. Because
what does Seamus say?
This is where it started. That one Bulls fan tweeted, all the Zach LaVine haters, including the ones who are Bulls fans, are going to make quite the turnaround this year, but we'll never forget. Then our guy Seamus, who is, to people that don't know Seamus, he is a Bulls season ticket holder that just no matter what, has a blindfold on, in my opinion, and just, he really wants the Bulls to be good, but doesn't want to blame anyone for how bad they've been.
At times, we have question about whether or not Seamus' account is a Garpax burner account.
Exactly.
Shout out Seamus, though. You know what? I'll give him this. Like, he backs everything up with his points.
Yeah.
He doesn't just blow out smoke out there. He will give you a good basketball conversation.
And, like, no doubt.
Has the ability to kind of sway you a bit, so I'll give him that.
So he said this. Don't forget about those bloggers/fans leading the charge, and the Bulls won't be relevant again until Garpax is fired. The backpedaling has already begun. And we've had conversations with him before. He's for sure including us in the bloggers.
Because I responded to that. Fans. And I go, my feet are firmly planted. I'm not backpedaling. He goes, I wasn't necessarily talking about you.
Yeah, he might have been talking about me.
He might have been on your ass.
That's fine. The biggest thing that jumped out to me was relevant again.
Yeah.
Like, when the Bulls are relevant again. So the question and I'll start. The question was, okay, then can I have your definition of being relevant? The response was playoff contending team with multiple all-stars, multiple 1 to 3 year players with significant growth potential and a path to signing a superstar talent in the near future and top 10 on Zach Lowe's NBA patch rankings. I think that might have been a little bit of a joke. But my response was,
no, Zach Lowe actually does have an NBA league.
No, I'm saying, but like I think at the end, he like obviously that doesn't mean,
he's not saying that's the crux of his argument. Yeah,
we actually pull this up. So my response was, we have all-star talents, but Boylan and Co. needs to put them in a position to become actual all-stars. And then so essentially, if we're pushing 40 wins and Zach Lowe wants to watch us, that makes us relevant. Stop it. Our standards should be higher than that. Pure point blank. And if you can follow along and you can read through the rest of the thread. But what I'm saying is that relevant, the Bulls were relevant when we were leading the East in wins every year with Tibbs. And we were making big noise and actually had a real shot to compete with LeBron in the Eastern Conference Finals. That's relevant. Us being fun to watch and having young talent and then dreaming that we get the shot at possibly, you can flip it back, and dreaming that we possibly have a shot at getting a superstar makes us relevant? Nah, bro, our standards should be higher than that. This is the Chicago Bulls, bro. This is our problem. That's what gets me fired up. Relevant is being a top 2 or 3, 4 team in the East, like the Sixers, Boston, having a real shot to go to the Eastern Conference Finals, that's relevant. Where are our standards at? That's the issue here. You feel me?
I see where you're coming from as far as the use of the word relevant. And relevant to who, right? Relevant to the mainstream? Like, no, I don't really think so. We're not at that point yet. Relevant to, a playoff picture? No, I don't really think we're at that point. For me, I can say that this year, and this hasn't been the case the last couple years, they are relevant to me as a fan because I have some level of excitement about watching the Bulls this year, which, as you know, last year, no one murdered Garpax more than I did. I've been on the fire Garpax train. I am still on the fire Garpax train. I do not believe that in the grand scheme of things, compared to the rest of the landscape of the NBA, that the Bulls are relevant again. With that being said, shout out Stephen A.
Yeah.
With that being said, I do believe, and I do give them some credit for some of the moves that they've made, right? Turning Jabari Parker into Otto Porter Jr., who can be a solid player in this league, was a very good move. Signing Satoransky was a really good move, right? If Markkanen
go get your Satoransky jersey
he's
now,
a baller. He's going to play
You're
for the
like
Bulls. You're going to love him a lot.
Yeah.
Lauri Markkanen going into year 3, I think is going to be really good, right? I'm excited about that. If Wendell Carter can stay healthy, which is a big if, I'm excited about that. LaVine, I don't know if it's the media selling me on Zach LaVine or if it's Zach LaVine selling me on Zach LaVine. But there's some part of me that's kind of bought in because he's just talking different right now, and he seems like he's really ready to step up and take that role. So with all that to me makes the Bulls relevant to me watching, because last year, second half of the year, I just was not watching the games. I moved on to other NBA teams. I said, I'm not going to put myself through this. I cannot watch this. I can't watch Robin Lopez post-ups for the rest of my life. It's going to kill me. So they are back relevant to me. So as far as the conversation that we'll be having here this year around the Bulls, it'll probably be a little bit different than what it was in years past. Because, again, we would just come on every week, murder them for 10 minutes, and move the fuck on to somebody else. Because there was way better stories. So I believe that the Bulls have some good storylines. I said it yesterday on the thing. I can kind of see the forest through the trees, which I could not see before. But I'm not ready, like everybody else, to jump on this playoff bandwagon with the Bulls. Because I don't know if we are better than that many teams in the East, right? I think that there are 8 teams that are better than the Chicago Bulls in the East. We don't have the list right in front of us, but I do believe that is a bigger hurdle for them to climb than people are saying. Also, I do not believe in our coach. I just don't. I don't believe in our coach, right? I've heard some things about some of the things that he's even doing. Heard some things, like whatever. I know some we can't talk about, but like craziness, right? So like, I'm not on board with him, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not on board with Garpax, or I am fearful of them doing something else stupid. But I will say this. The moves that they made last year and this offseason were fine with me. They were solid moves. They made the best out of a bad situation. I didn't necessarily hate the Porter deal in the moment, and I don't hate it now. I understand that $20 million is a big number, but when you look at the max deals are around $41, $42 million, he's getting half of what a max player is going to get right now. I can take that. He's a solid small forward in the NBA. But I'm not ready to crown
more than 20, but yeah,
25 million. Maybe 26, maybe 27. It's in the he's not getting 30 million.
I think it's like 26 or 27.
Great.
But yeah.
Solomon Hill's getting like $20 million a year. So, I mean, Jan Mahinmi's getting $20 million a year. So, I mean, you can do a lot worse than paying him that kind of money. And, again, there is a semblance of a core and a plan. My problem with them last year was what? No transparency, no plan, right? 2 years ago, you bring in Dwayne Wade for whatever fucking reason you decide to bring in Dwayne Wade.
Right. He talks about that in the Twitter.
The Rondo situation, whatever it might
Shout
be,
out my
right?
boy.
You dick around with Jimmy Butler, all that stuff, right? So that was the stuff that really bothered me. Then you give Fred Hoiberg no clear direction and you fire him in the middle of the season. And you know that we hated Fred Hoiberg. We are not Hoiberg people. But I thought how they did Fred was super dirty. Yeah. If you want the man to tank, then tell him, hey, you need to go tank.
Right.
And then you extend this guy, this Boylan character, 2.0, who I also don't agree with. Yeah. But as far as player personnel, it's not like there's a bunch of scrubs. So they're relevant to me in the conversations that I'll be having, but they're not relevant on the national scene.
I don't know if I could use relevant to me. I'm going to watch. I'm excited to watch.
That's more than you can say.
Yeah, that's more than I can say. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Your point on Zach LaVine, and I think it's interesting because you just feel good going into the year about Zach, right?
You do.
I think part of that is last year he showed that he worked hard to get back from the knee.
Yeah.
He showed that he was locked in. He was working out.
Like 30
Articles
games.
were talking
like 24 points a game. Yeah.
Exactly, right? So he showed you that he wants to be better. He wants to be great, right? So that's kind of why I agree with you, and I feel the same way going into the year about LaVine. So we'll see how that shakes. But that's the perfect segue to go into LaVine and this mid-range jumper conversation that is super interesting. Pull me up really quick. On what's that show? What's it
The
called?
Jump.
The Jump. Hoops Only. Shout out Rachel Nichols.
Shout out Rachel.
They talked about Zach LaVine talks about shooting mid-range jumpers. The Bulls essentially want Zach to stop shooting mid-range jumper. Here's the clip, and we'll go over it.
The Bulls analytics department wants Zach LaVine to either shoot threes or attack the rack based on their calculations and trends across the league. LaVine said he's willing to accept their advice, but push back a little bit on the notion of what a good shot is. Here is what LaVine told the Chicago Sun-Times, quote, I grew up being a fan of Michael Jordan, a Kobe Bryant fan. I think the mid-range is a lost art now because everyone is moving toward the threes and the analytics. I understand that because of how it looks and how it sounds, like it makes sense, but sometimes there's nothing better than putting the ball in your best playmaker hands and letting him get the shot he needs rather than the one you want. And I have long said this as we have covered the sport for long enough that we've seen like the mid-range. No, the lost art of the mid-range, the whole cornucopia there. Yes, 3 is more than 2. 2 is more than 0. So if you got the 2-point shot and you can take it and it goes in.
You flip it back. So essentially, Zach's like, I get it, but I'm listening, but I'm hearing you.
Right.
But I'm not listening all the way with that. Like, I get it. You want me to shoot less long 2s and more 3s, and that's a bucket. Analytics says to do that, but I'm not just going to completely remove that from my game. Listen to this. LaVine shot 37% from 3 last year, 36% from mid-range. So that's, do the math, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Bulls were 21st in the league from 8 to 16 feet, 14.31%. 19th from 16 to 24 at 10%. And then the average shot distance was 12 feet, which was last in the league. So, how do you feel about that?
The average shot distance for the Bulls was 12 feet, so it's the shortest shots in the league the Bulls were taking?
So, that's a little... I would like to see what the Rockets is because obviously it might be a little deeper because they're shooting more threes. But they're also getting layups too, so it's a little.
It was all those roll jump hooks that were killing the Bulls.
Right. But those are the numbers there. How do you feel about the whole mid-range conversation and the analytics versus not? And then we'll bring up that thread that Katie got into it with Matt Moore about.
Listen, man, I'll say this in any sport that it comes down to, football, basketball, baseball, whatever sport you want to apply the analytics for, there is 100% a time and place for them. I think when you're talking about like overall philosophy and things like that, you have to use the numbers, right? Like that data matters, right? It tells a story, but it does not tell the whole story. So one of the things that I thought that KD said was interesting, it's like you have dudes literally passing up wide open mid-range jump shots to kick it out to someone to shoot a contested 3.
Yeah.
That is over-understanding the rule, right? Over-understand the number saying, hey, the 3 is so important, we would rather take contested fall-away 3s than wide open mid-range.
Okay, yeah, let me pull that up. Pull this up really quick for me. So to give a little context on what you're talking about, Matt Moore, Action Network NBA writer, he at Twitter on HP Basketball. Here's a thread. So he essentially quoted the video we saw and said, Rachel mentions it's a good shot if it goes in and a bad shot if it doesn't, but you don't know that obviously until you shoot it. Zach LaVine was 36% on mid-range last year, 37% from 3, which we just talked about. If you're shooting 50% from 2, and then and if you're shooting 50% from mid-range, then that's okay, essentially, is what he's saying. 1 point per possession is good.
Yeah.
But when that starts to dip, that's when it gets counterproductive. KD jumped in the conversation. Sometimes it's just the open shot. Why pass up a wide open look to shoot a semi-contested shot? Matt Moore goes on. When is it in the shot clock? I'm not saying, hey, if there's 2 seconds left on the clock, still back it up. You can go look at the thread and you can read it on the screen there. But essentially, like you were saying, he was saying, I just think that sometimes the analytics goes a little overboard and people are forcing threes instead of they can get a very good look from 2.
Right.
Now, I think it's interesting, and you can pull us down. I think it's interesting because in the regular season, this is where I lean. In the regular season, shoot no mid-range jumpers. Shoot all threes and go to the basket like Houston. It's fine. The analytics prove it's very successful. When it gets to playoff basketball,
you gotta take them open looks, dog.
It's just a different game.
It's a different game. If
you go out there and run, like Mike D'Antoni's revolutionary, ahead of his time, et cetera, et cetera.
Not a ton of playoff success.
Not a ton of playoffs. He doesn't have any rings.
Yeah.
Put it like that.
Yep.
When it gets to the playoffs and you got to get a bucket, it's just completely different. The game is different.
Yeah.
See CJ McCollum last year in the playoffs. He absolutely went crazy shooting mid-range jumpers.
Yeah. Because it was there for him.
Kawhi in the finals.
Loves them.
Buried Golden State shooting mid-range jumpers.
Yep.
So, like,
at a high clip.
It's a completely different game in the playoffs. So,
dude,
lock in all
Tony
you want.
Parker, for years in the playoffs, was the mid-range god.
Built $1 million crib in San Antonio off shooting
mid-range jumpers. Never bothered shooting threes.
So, I get it. I get the analytics lean more towards. I was reading before we hopped on. Houston shot 4. If it wasn't a 3 or a layup, the mid-range, they shot 4% mid-range jump shots.
Yeah,
that's insane.
Crazy.
4%.
And they're probably all Chris Paul
of their shot. Yeah, exactly. We're long twos.
Yeah. So
I get it, and I'm with it, and a lot of the analytical stuff is very interesting to me. I'm not an analytics guy, but I try to. I'm trying to get smart, read up, and pull what I can out of it.
You can't deny.
But I'm going to tell you this, bro. In the playoffs, I've seen that whole shooting threes and only layups. It just doesn't work.
Yeah,
it hasn't worked.
Dude, you need to. So if you're, and it's like you can't.
It has worked for Golden State, but they're different animals. But yeah,
I mean, look,
it's a whole different beast
out there.
Right, exactly. So yeah,
stop. Yeah, but people are trying to make that look at Golden State. They shoot a bunch of threes. Well, they have
I just wanted to make that clear before someone jumped in my mentions about Golden State.
Two of the best 4 shooters of all time are on their team, and they also had Kevin Durant for a while, who's maybe the most devastating offensive player we've ever seen in the NBA. So stop it, or complete as far you know what I'm saying, but. You gotta. It's both. You can't be like so far on the analytics side that you're like, nah, fuck a gut feeling.
That you're almost like you're not even watching the game.
But you can't be such an old head that you're like, nah, screw the analytics. You have to meet somewhere in the middle. But I would almost say more gut than analytics, right? And again, that might just be me being an old guy. I love when KD posted that.
Because
he's like, why are you sending me a graph during a basketball conversation? I 100% agree with that too. KD's not trying to read all that. But at the same time, man, I mean, I feel like you have to react in the moment, right? And if in the moment you have a wide open mid-range jumper and you're someone who's hitting it like you said Kawhi was, like you said CJ McCollum was, why would you not take those? You got to take what the defense gives you in the playoffs. If the defense is giving you mid-range and you can sit there and knock those down and you're shooting 50% on mid-range, absolutely.
And LaVine said in an article, he said, when we need to get a basket or something, I know what I'm going to go to. He's going to go to his most confident shot, which right now maybe one-on-one with a 2-dribble pull-up mid-range, right? So that's the thing. Like, especially in the playoffs, like I've been hammering.
Yeah.
If you need a bucket, and your best shot is a long two,
take it.
Go get a bucket.
If it's wide open.
Right. Go get a basket. Like, that's simple as that.
What they're saying is the long two misses are more impactful than the three misses.
Exactly.
And it's like, I think you're really – and then at that point, it's like, okay, but you miss more threes, right? So doesn't that create more possessions for the other team? Unless you're great at offensive rebounding?
Yeah, I mean, essentially –
It's all the weighting and the number.
Right.
I get it. I get it. I understand what they're saying.
100%.
Fundamentally, I understand what they're trying to say. And again, your numbers. The other thing with numbers is you can manipulate numbers anyway to tell what kind of story you want to tell. I feel like sometimes. So take it with a bit of a grain of salt. Take the mid-range if it's open. Like you said in the playoffs, you got to take what's given to you. If the defense is leaving you open for mid-range and you're a good enough shooter, you should be able to knock those down, get your 2 points, and maybe then they'll start playing you a little bit tighter. You can back up and hit the three.
Right.
Or, take them to the cup. Do whatever, but yeah.
NBA starts next week. It's going to be fire.
Yep.
I'm ready. Let's close it out with the LeBron talk. Me and you already had a little conversation about this earlier. I'm not even going to recap the situation. LeBron had some comments about Morey, and I think a little bit of the confusion came when LeBron was saying he didn't like the timing. Not necessarily he didn't like what he
I think he meant
he didn't disregard the support.
Yeah.
He said, "Yo, man, we're over here. It's a lot of NBA folks over here, and you're putting us in a bad spot."
Yeah.
Tweeting something like that while we're out here.
Well, and also when you think he said he wasn't educated on the situation, I think what LeBron tried to clarify is I think he wasn't educated on the ramifications of saying what he was going to say. A lot of people took that as, he wasn't educated on the situation in China. He should be pro-China. He was saying, no, he wasn't educated on how impactful
the ramifications
it would
of
be
it
to say something like this.
Right.
With that being said, and again, I see a lot of people out here killing LeBron, and I think a lot of that is people, and I told you this in the group message earlier, people on their high horses saying, well, LeBron needs to step up and do this. And it's like, look, that's so easy to say when it's not you in that position, but people are about self-preservation. And LeBron's money in China is very long. And we talk about his money after he finishes playing basketball because his number one source of income is going to be from Nike. Nike needs him to have that relationship in China. They didn't sign him to a lifetime contract so he can just be big in the United States of America. They need him big on China, and he's looking at that. Also, LeBron as the not only the most visible NBA player, the most visible athlete in the world, right? Hands down, the most popular athlete in the world, what he says has an impact. And if he says something that's going to impact the NBA's bottom line, right? Because if that China money gets pulled out, these people have already shown they don't give a fuck. We'll just cancel the NBA. If you lose that kind of money, that's $1.5 billion TV deal.
If we catch you watching it, we putting you in jail.
Putting you in jail. I ain't watching that shit. I'm going to watch y'all.
I'm watching NBA?
I'm going to watch Stephon Marbury.
Bro.
You know what I'm saying?
Get the cuffs on this
he
boy.
has the responsibility of, like, look, if that money gets pulled out, that basketball-related income, which is what is used to determine the salary cap, and that money turns into real dollars outside of players' pockets, that's irresponsible by LeBron James. It might not matter to his max salary, but it matters to the mid-tier guys, right? If you lose the salary cap, they said the salary cap could have dropped by $15 to $20 million per team. That is a substantial amount of money. That's $1 million per guy on average, right? If not more. That matters. So he can't just be irresponsible and going around fucking it up for everybody. I think he, regardless, man, like, put yourself in his shoes. It's so easy to sit there and armchair quarterback it and say, this is what I would have done. Well, guess what? You're not staring down the barrel of losing your future earnings. You're not staring down the barrel of impacting other people's money, right? It's so easy to say, well, let's do the right thing. Like, no, man, it's not that simple. It's not that simple. And it's not him being a sellout. It's not him bowing down to his millions of dollars. He has a legacy to protect, and he has the responsibility of being sometimes a spokesperson for the other players. And the league doesn't want this. Just like Silver. You wonder why Adam Silver isn't coming out and saying anything about it, and Adam Silver is shown to be a pretty progressive guy and a guy who cares about social issues. You know why? Because he's the CEO of a major company, and his job is to make that company money. And going out against China is not going to make his company any money. It's going to lose his company's money. All these people forget about business and let's do the right thing. I'll be a martyr. Like, no, you won't. There are very few martyrs among us. There are very few people who are going to fall on that sword among us. They'll all say it on Twitter. They'll all say it on TV, but they won't come out in front and say, hey, look, how many of us want to go into our job and tell our boss, fuck you, because it's the right thing to do? But you won't do it.
Yeah.
You won't do it. And I'm saying I want to say it to anybody I work for. You guys are great. But I'm just saying, right, like it's the right thing to do, right? You see stuff at work that you might not agree with and you might want to call out, but you're like, hey, I got to protect my job.
It's tough, and I hear you. And it's tough for me because obviously I'm on the Hong Kong side of this. I think I'm pulling for those guys to keep their rights and, stay more democracy than they already were before and continue that. But yeah, when we were going back and forth earlier, you made me think LeBron, it wouldn't really affect his life too much if he just smoked out China and supported Hong Kong. It really wouldn't affect LeBron.
It'd affect his money in China.
Yeah, but it wouldn't affect. But
why does D Rose get a signature shoe every year?
What I'm saying is, yes, because he's selling shoes in China.
He ain't selling them here.
I get it.
Yeah.
He would lose money, but he already has so much money.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the end of his life.
Right. Exactly, okay. Right?
You mean actually impact his life.
Yeah, exactly.
His lifestyle.
Exactly.
Sure.
You got me thinking about the money that would be pulled out of the league if China no longer was involved, which would then affect the salary cap, which would then affect like a league minimum guy that he wouldn't get a slot.
Or even a mid-level.
Or,
I mean, a guy who's making $5 million, a guy who was making $7 million is
now making $4 or whatever.
We're not going to cry for these people, but at the same time, it's like that's substantial.
That started to go where that was where my thoughts started to travel after I thought about it more and more.
And yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, and the league, who's going to suffer from it? Not the owners.
Right.
The owners are going to minimize their impact as much and say, hey, that's BRI.
Yeah.
Hey, thank your boy Bron.
Right.
BRI.
Yeah.
The salary cap is based on BRI, correct? Basketball-related income.
Yeah.
So the money from China is basketball-related income.
Next player association, like that's gonna be a talking point. Like, y'all, what you mean? Y'all smoked a bunch of money off.
Yeah.
Like the cap gotta come down.
Cap's coming down.
Simple as that. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, what y'all want? You value the product.
The interesting thing too is the Players Association hasn't said a word.
Everybody.
And the other thing is, do you think if a player came out and did what Morey did, he would be getting disciplined?
Yes. Well,
that's the question.
I think that Daryl Morey was very close to getting fired. Everything you've read was like, they were very, very close to firing him, but they worried about optics on that, right? So I think if a player came out and said that, he'd probably be in the similar situation to where he would know very quickly that was the wrong thing to do. Would he be reprimanded?
That's not what I'm asking.
Yeah, would he be reprimanded?
Would he be suspended? Like, what could you do? It's such a sticky. It's a nightmare. It's a PR nightmare.
I don't think it's in their bylaws that you can't speak out on something like this.
Right.
So I don't think the player would be reprimanded, suspended, because then the NBPA would be all over it, right? But I think that player would know that he fucked up, right? We're talking about very proud people, and none of them want to say shit. Morey doesn't want to puff his chest out. Like, somebody sat down and told them, like, these are the real implications of this relationship.
Yeah.
Just like when ESPN had to reshuffle all their shit and fire Bill Simmons, who was their biggest dude, because he came at the NFL. It's like, hey, whoa. You can be funny. You can get angry on the podcast. You can talk shit. Do not come at our biggest business partner.
He would come at the NFL. He'd come at ESPN. He was reckless.
He was super reckless, but I'm saying, like, the crux of it all was him coming at the NFL and then daring ESPN to suspend him. But, like, again, it just shows you that at the end of the day, dude, these business relationships and the things that last and the things that'll make money for 10, 20, 30 years down the line, that's what matters. So
it's the money.
It's the money.
Follow the money.
It's the relationship. And, again, Adam Silver is the CEO of a major company. What is his job? To fucking please the shareholders. In this case, the shareholders are the owners.
Yes, sir.
We need to up the value of the teams. You need to set the league up to be successful going forward. You're going to be in this job for another 10 to 15 years. You don't want to be dealing with the fallout of pissing off the fucking largest country in the world, the largest economy in the world, right? With tons of money. And guess what they love? They love the NBA. We cannot understate. Derrick Rose has been getting a signature shoe from Adidas since he came in the league, including the last 5 or 6 years. He goes to China. Adidas pays him $12 million a year. Not for United States stuff, but because he sells that many shoes in China.
Well, he signed that deal, but yeah.
Stephon Marbury went over there and got a statue, a play, a movie, everything. They love basketball. So much so that they will take Stephon Marbury and embrace him. There's a fucking 1.5 billion people over there. That's a lot of money. There are more NBA fans. They are said that there are more NBA fans in China than there are people in the United States of America.
Yeah, it's big bread.
700 million NBA fans. You want to alienate those people? You want to cut that product off to them?
I thought LeBron shouldn't
have said shit.
He shouldn't have said nothing.
It was a bad statement.
It was a bad look.
It was
just a bad statement. It wasn't like if you really felt like you had to say something, call up Mav and be like, yo, can I put out a memo or whatever we got to do?
No.
But like what he put together or what he said off the cuff didn't come off very well.
It would have been a lot better to be like, you know what? I'm not fucking touching that with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah.
Next.
Yeah.
Or do like, what was it, James Harden and Russell Westbrook? They asked the question. They sent up there like,
dude, that's always the best in NBA pressers. When someone asks someone a question and they look at each other like, you want to take this one?
Like,
yeah, you going to take this?
How much money you got out in China right now?
You going to take this?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I'm not saying nothing.
They love the why nots in Beijing. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not messing up that money. I go there every summer, baby.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
I'm not touching it. So, again, man, I think it's one of those – it's like one of those ultimate high horse what is this dude called on the radio? A high horse rodeo. That's what it is. It was the high horse rodeo. Like, everybody rode in on their high horse saying what LeBron should have said.
High horse rodeo.
It was a high horse rodeo. Everybody in the world rode it. I thought that was great when I heard it.
That is good.
Everybody in their world rode in on their high horse and talked about what LeBron should have said, but none of them would have said it if it would have affected their jobs.
Right.
Or even further than that, the jobs of the people around him. That is a real thing.
I'm not even going to get in. We won't even get into it. We'll close it out on what you just said. But what you just said all makes me think of Kaepernick and how he sacrificed himself for the greater good. I'm not saying LeBron should have done that, but it's interesting.
We could go on, and again, we did via text. We could go on a whole nother hour about why I disagree with that statement. But, you know.
But did he not sacrifice himself?
But yeah, for sure he did. Yeah. But his situation was a little bit different as far as what he was sacrificing for. He was sacrificing for an issue that he felt really hit home to him.
Right.
Because we're not even going to go. I don't want to.
No, right. Yeah. It's a completely different. It really hit home and affected his people. LeBron and others in the NBA aren't connected to China, and it's not. It's AKA none of our business.
None of our business. That'd be
the simplest way to put it.
It's like,
right?
I can't not touch what's going on in America, but like I can choose to stay away from what the fuck's going on in China.
Right. It's interesting, and this will be a talking point for.
Yeah, well, it's not going away. The story's not going away.
Shout out my girl Mia Harvey. She wrote me a note today.
Oh. At your head.
She's at my neck about making some more hoodies. She needs some gear that fits little shorties. Mm-hmm. All the stuff's too big for her. Mia, I'm gonna look into it. We're gonna talk about it. She said all our friends are pregnant, which is true. Yeah. The baby clothes could be some money makers.
Untapped market.
So, but I did, if you're listening and you rock with us, shoot me a DM on the @No Ketchup Chicago Instagram. Let me know if you would want me to make some more hoodies. I've been exploring, re-upping. Shoot me a size, color, see how many people are actually looking for one before I go make a bunch and gotta move them. But we'll leave it there, man.
Yeah.
No Ketchup, Sports Talk via Chicago. I'm your host, Sean Little. For Big Nick the Quick, we're out of here. Make sure you follow us everywhere at NoKetchupChicago.com, Instagram, at Chicago Flow, Twitter, at NHarvey. What is it?
1086.
1086. Shout out Jeezy.
Twitter begins spicy.
Twitter's lit. Follow us everywhere. No Ketchup Chicago. Let's get it.